In special case number 2, we have no constant. Both terms have an x. So, just like we did before, we're going to add a 0. This time we're just going to add it right at the end of the equation. Still going to set up our t-chart. This one might be a little bit trickier to think about though. So now we're multiplying to 0 and adding to -5. So we have to find two numbers that do that. Well, this time I'm going to do this in backwards order. Normally we think about what multiplies to, in this case, 0 first, but anything can multiply to 0 as long as you're multiplying by 0. So if we needed to add to -5, I'm just going to put -5 as one of my numbers, because when I multiply it by 0, that will give me 0, and -5 plus 0 will give me -5. So then I can factor. So it becomes y equals quantity x minus 5 times quantity x plus 0. So when I check my work, because this looks a little strange, so I'm going to go ahead and check my work. X times x is x squared. X times 0 is 0. -5 times x is -5x. And -5 times 0 is 0. So when I simplify, meaning cancel my zeros, I'm left with x squared minus 5x. So it checked out. The one other thing I'm going to do to make our solution final is simplify that x plus 0 to just x. And because it looks a little funny putting one term at the end, I'm going to pull it to the front, x times the quantity x minus 5. Second one, same process. So I'm going to set up my t-chart. What multiplies to, got to add my 0 on the end, multiplies to 0, adds to 13. So the same thing I did for the first one, I'm going to choose 13 as one of my numbers, because 13 times 0 is 0, and 13 plus 0 is 13. So when I factor, this time I'm going to switch it around because you can multiply in any order. So if I had 0 times 13 in my t-chart, that would still multiply to 0. So I'm going to do x plus 0 times quantity x plus 13. And of course, this time, to make my checking a little bit quicker and easier, I'm going to simplify my x plus 0 first. X plus 0 is just x times quantity x plus 13. So when I check my answer, I'm just going to distribute my x. X times x is x squared, and x times 13 is 13x. So my answer checks out, and then this is the simplified version of my factored form. Let's just practice that real quick. We'll practice that simplified version, and then our check is really quick. So we're going to start by adding 0, setting up our t-chart. What multiplies to 0 adds to 17, and the pattern we noticed is we're going to use 0 and 17, because 0 times 17 is 0, and 0 plus 17 is 0. So then we factor, and this becomes x plus 0 times the quantity x plus 17. So when I simplify my x plus 0 to just x, I get x times the quantity x plus 17. Checking my answer by distributing my x, I get y equals x squared plus 17x, which equals what I started with, so it checked out. So here's my solution. Last question. If you feel like you've got this, go ahead and jump to the U-try. But for those that want to see one more example, keep watching. Start by adding 0. Set up your t-chart. What multiplies to 0 adds to -22. I'm going to use 0 and -22. Factoring. I get x plus 0 times the quantity x minus 22. Simplifying my x plus 0 to x, I get x times the quantity x minus 22. And finally, when I check my answer, I'm going to distribute my x. X times x is x squared, and x times -22 is -22x. So my answer checks out, and the factored form is x times the quantity x minus 22. And your U-try problems.